welcome to episode 103, I think, of the Nerds at Large Gaming Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Darby Hallman.
I'm Jeff Mayo.
I'm definitely going to get that wrong one of these days, and I'm going to say the wrong thing, and it's going to be funny. I'm just really hoping I don't type the wrong thing into the thing. I'm still morbidly, I'm really worried that one day I'm going to look back and realize that I doubled up.
No. Skipped the number.
Or I skipped the number, and I'm going to, it's all wrong. It's been wrong for 80 episodes. Everything our life is a lie. Oh, no. Because I would do something like that. That's a mistake that I would make, and yeah. Jeff.
Darby.
Hey, how you doing?
Pretty good. How about you?
I am doing pretty great, Jeffrey. Mm-hmm. I'm doing pretty great. It feels like it's been a long time, but it really has only been two extra days.
Yeah.
Since we normally record, but it feels like it's been a long time because I've been doing a lot, Jeff. I've been living a busy life. Guess what I've been doing, Jeff?
What?
I'm an esports boy now. I'm announcing that I'm putting myself open to being a player in the Overwatch League. So anyone who wants to sign me on, I'm open. I'm
so
available.
You're saying you weren't open before? If they came to you, asked you to play, you wouldn't have done it?
No,
now.
I had not made my decision yet, Jeff. Okay. Now I've made my decision. I am free, open, free for grabs.
Okay.
Anyone who wants to grab me, just if you want some subpar to kind of maybe sometimes average healing with only mercy, then
if you want a water boy, he's open.
I am open. I can run out there and dump some water on Jonak's face and it'll be
get all over the computer and
just walk around. Yeah, and it'll be great. Well, Jeff, I saw Overwatch League live in Atlanta this past weekend. They had their Atlanta homestand. I keep saying homestand. As you know, all the other weeks, Overwatch League is always done just in LA these first 2 years.
Sometimes in Texas, I think.
Yeah, there was only two away dates. One was in Dallas, and then they had this one in Atlanta. And obviously, we're in South Carolina, so there was no chance we were ever getting out to LA. But Atlanta, that's just 4 hours away or 3 hours away.
Yeah,
no problem at all. And it was a really, really cool experience. I've never been to any esports anything in my life, so this was a completely new experience for me. And I definitely had a little bit of a just concern, or I don't know, concern, but I was thinking am I gonna really feel like I get a ton out of this? Because I go to a lot of live sporting events like football and baseball and stuff like that. And, you're watching this physical sport be played in front of you. But when going to an Overwatch League thing, I'm obviously watching the same game.
Yeah, you're watching a screen like you would at home.
Right. So I'm like, am I really going to feel like all of this is worth it? And I think the answer is yes. Cool. Just because, and I think they know that. They know that you're going there to watch a screen just like you would at home. So they kind of go above and beyond to make it feel like a big production. And they had a giant screen there that you're watching. It's like a movie theater size screen, but then they also had two screens above on either side, and they would you'd have the main screen here, and then they would show an overview of the map, and you'd see where all the players are on the top screen. So it was like a dual screen experience type deal, which was really cool. And they also had, I was telling Jeff before, they had speakers like you would see in a concert, like a rock concert or something, like the line speakers there, and all the the Widowmaker headshots and all the every time there was some explosion or something, it was loud and thunderous and everything, and every little when someone would secure an objective, it just felt everyone was cheering, and where normally I'm watching, I'm okay, that was good. That was a good job.
And Darby, Atlanta won both their games.
And that also gave me made me feel a little bit better about Overwatch League going forward, because I don't know if you know, Jeff, you probably do, but next year every single team is going to have a home thing like this. It's going to have at least one home weekend where they're gonna pick some venue in all these different places, and I feel I was kind of concerned about that, but I definitely feel better now, because when Atlanta did play, it really did feel
like a home game.
Yeah.
The other games.
Right, yeah. The other games, it was like a lot of cheering and everything, but as soon as Atlanta went, like everyone who was getting concessions outside, like the place filled up, and like there was like people were doing these like noise, like the clacker things you do together, and there was lights everywhere. Everyone was screaming. It was like you couldn't even hear the announcers because everyone was just losing their minds, and you could tell like there was an immediate like, okay, yeah, this is a home team against the away team, and it felt like kind of being it reminds me more of a basketball game because it's like indoor thing like that, but it felt like I was at an Atlanta sports game.
I saw on Twitter that it seemed like the Atlanta players really loved the energy and all that.
Yeah, especially Dogman, who's like the one that eats that up the most. But they were all like, they had this whole elaborate like walkout thing with like smoke and everything. And they like announced all the players, and they announced everyone one by one. And then Toronto, the away team, they're like, and the Toronto Defiant, and everyone's like, boo! And they like just walk out there. It was great. Like everyone like played up into it. And DeFran was the Phoenix. Like there was a Phoenix mascot person out there that was like, as everyone was coming in after they announced everyone there, I was like, and who's under this Phoenix mask? Who's this? Or whatever. They took off the head. He's like, yeah, let's go do this. it was great. That was a lot of fun.
So a question I didn't even ask you this: were you able to sit with Alex and Olivia
for some of it? It turns out they got tickets closer than I did. I thought that we had the same level of tickets, but I had the cheaper, not quite the top deck, but the middle deck seats. But I was able to sit with them for the first one, and then someone came and I had to move. I had to sit in the upper deck for like half of the Atlanta game, but then the second half I was able to find another seat down below, so I was not sitting where I was supposed to. But the most of the time I was in the lower deck. I mean, I was like on the floor with everyone else. But I will say, in this versus like a lot of other sports stuff you would do, I don't really feel like there's a bad seat. I mean, there's definitely, it's better being on the floor. Just, there's more people there, and you're like eye level with the people people playing. But because you're all looking at a giant like movie theater screen, even if you're up top, you're seeing everything that's happening just as well as anyone else. You're just a little bit further away from it. So it makes me, I want to go again. Like when they do this next year, I definitely want to go back. I think it was a really cool thing. I expected to enjoy it, but I think I enjoyed it even more than I thought it was. And even though it's a full day, there's 4 games, and it was like it lasted from the game started at noon and didn't end until like 7 or 6 or 7 or something like that. So it was a long day, but like even with that, I enjoyed every game. I wanted to be there. Yeah. And I'm really interested to see, like, Overwatch League continues to get bigger and bigger, but I do worry that they're expanding like too fast, because they're already, I think, going to add like 10 more teams or something next year. And then all of these teams are going to have home things. It just seems like a lot for year 3.
Yeah, well, especially since, they're in different countries and continents and stuff.
Like China and Korea and America and then France.
Yeah, and some of them have to do it anyway, obviously the Korean players. But now for the kind of American players or whatever, you got to get visas for them, I assume.
Yeah.
And then different visas for the people that aren't from the, the U.S. but not from the country they're going to.
And just the traveling. I mean, what if you have a game in China and then the next week you're playing in L.A. or you're playing in Atlanta? It's like, that could get brutal after a while. I mean, with more teams, maybe they'd be able to have more days off, but you would have to think that there would at least be some weeks where someone's having to travel like really far away.
Yeah.
We already the NFL kind of like argues back and forth whether they want to do a London team because of the travel. This would be like that on steroids because you're literally traveling the world. It's a completely cross world thing. So I worry about Overwatch League just from a management perspective. I worry that they're going to push too far. But as far as just a like pure enjoyment and getting butts in seats, I think that they put on a good enough show that, and this was sold out. I mean, there was a lot of people there. I think if they can kind of sustain that, and then I think they could be good as long as they don't push too far.
Mm-hmm.
Because also, I think Overwatch League has been increasing viewership this year, but not by a ton. Not by like as much as you would think for all the moves that they're making, which is maybe a little concerning. But I think it was really cool. It was a really, really cool event.
Nice.
I hope that Overwatch League just becomes something that we're like, oh yeah, we're going to a rain game, just like we would say that we're going to go to a Braves game or something. I think it could be, and this venue was great for it because it was a
What was the venue?
It was the Cobb Energy Center. It looks like an opera house. Like it has the upper decks
Pretty
are
sure
like
I've
these.
been there, but I can't remember for what I've been there for.
Yeah, the upper decks are these like circular thing. It looks like an old opera house almost, but like it really worked because it just went out and then the stage was really big, so they were able to have like and all their setups were like super cool because they have these gigantic booths and a bunch of lights and just it was a cool experience.
Nice.
I highly recommend it if you're able to go in LA or anywhere that you're gonna have a bunch of places you could go next year apparently. Yeah, and you should consider going maybe with us next year. Yeah. Hopefully it's cheaper because it was definitely prohibitively expensive this year, but it will probably still be just as expensive,
if not more.
Because
now they know how many people are willing to pay for it.
Yeah, apparently they would sell out at the price that they were selling. So yeah, probably not going to get any better as far as that's concerned. But it's cool. It made me want to go play Overwatch.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Overwatch is like the only esport I could think of like me really like doing this for, like going to a physical event, at least right now in my life, But it's interesting. Well, Jeff, that's enough from me. You've actually been playing games, not just watching people play games.
Yep.
What you been playing this week, Jeffrey?
I guess I'll start with Super Mario Maker 2. Talk about that just a little more. Shouldn't really have to talk about it too much since I did last week. So let me put the time code. Okay. So yeah, playing more Super Mario Maker 2 story mode. I have beaten it.
Built that whole castle?
I built that whole castle. Peach finally showed up. Gave Mario a little kiss.
Woo.
Yeah, spicy. And yeah. The levels throughout the whole thing were still really good. What I'm about to say could be a positive or negative to some people or whatever. But after beating it, I still have about 25-ish levels left, I think, to play for the story mode, something like that. Sounds right. So there's more to do after you beat the game. There's still more levels to play, and also I think a positive for that is there. Some of these levels can be a little difficult, and they range in definitely, and especially depending on who you are and all that. Some of the mechanics or whatever from certain styles or certain items might be easier or harder for you, just depending.
Yeah.
So I kind of like that you don't have to beat them all to beat the story mode. So you get the satisfaction of beating the whole thing or beating the story, and by picking like, okay, I don't really care for this game, I'm not good at it, so I can skip this, or you don't like maybe this particular style.
Now, are these levels that were unlocked after you beat the story?
No, I could have played those levels long before.
Is it just one of those things like you have to beat this many levels and it doesn't matter?
The way it works is as you're building a castle, once you start building a piece of the castle, you unlock a certain number of levels. Like, depending on which one you do, it's not in order. All the levels are numbered, have a set number. You don't necessarily lock them in order. Depending on how you build the castle, you could get a much later number earlier than some other ones. It just depends on what you decide to build.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Some of them you don't unlock technically to the very end because they don't unlock till you start building the last piece. And once you get the last piece almost done, you get this final level thing like, oh, Bowser has kidnapped Toadette. You got to go get her and do that. So you got to beat that level, which included a whole bunch of things and had Meowser.
Bowser just really likes to kidnap people, doesn't he?
He does. And I think Toadette brought a thing. It's like, that was the first time I ever met Bowser. Like, yeah, I guess she doesn't really mean too much in the Mario platformers.
Now, Toadette, I've seen you race carts with Bowser so many times.
Yeah.
No, but you still just the creativity of the levels.
Yep, and
shown
obviously I'm
through.
going to go back and try to beat all those levels.
Yeah. Have you played any Did you play the Arby's level?
I did play the Arby's level. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
It's a big ad like
Yeah.
Arby's, like it just had a bunch of words and coins written out. Like Arby's, or when we have the meat and all that.
Yeah, like eat meat, you miserable piece of shit.
Exactly. I said exactly that.
Yeah. Did you play any other user? How have you been impressed with the user levels you've played?
And I haven't played them that much. But obviously there are people that I've just seen people talk about online. It's like people making crazy stuff. Though unfortunately, just kind of from what I've seen, the best levels are ones that are also hard.
Yeah.
So I would kind of maybe like. I mean, that's just what I'm seeing. I don't know. Those are probably out there.
Yeah.
Like some of the good levels also be ones that are more casual, necessarily like stress inducing. Like you have to trial and error stuff. I mean, those are fine, obviously.
Weirdly enough, the ones that like seem the coolest to me are the ones that don't have as much to do with platforming as they do like puzzle solving.
Yeah.
Which is cool. I mean, it's a cool thing that like it's almost like Mario wasn't really made for that, but we're doing it anyway with Mario Maker. Like I've seen some people where it's like some people make some things that's almost like a Zelda game almost with the puzzles,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely, some levels like that in the story mode.
One thing that they brought up on kind of funny that I can't believe this never even crossed my mind as something that they can do, which is kind of dumb. It should have, and I think it should be in the game. Why can't you do like they should make it where you can make like a game like World 1, World 2, World 3, and like connect your levels so that you can make like a series that's like getting progressively harder or like going through different things. Like that just seems like a very easy thing to I mean, I don't know. What do I know? But it seemed like a pretty easy thing to implement that would have been.
The thing with that is when I'm about to say I'm not defending this like them doing this, but I imagine it could be a reason potentially. I don't know. One person can only upload 32 levels right now.
Yeah.
So that dependent, that might be a game, and that
yeah. I mean, that would.
Then you can't do any more levels.
A lot of them.
Yeah.
Off. Yeah. And that
not saying that's a good decision, or I like it.
Even that, like, I feel like a creator could have more than 32 really good ideas.
Yeah. I think it was 100 for Mario Maker 1.
Yeah, I feel like it should be more than that.
I agree.
Because, I mean, like, some of these creators, like, I want them to be able to create Mario Maker levels for years to come.
Yeah.
And they're going to get past 32 real fast.
Yeah, I'm really hoping they up.
That?
Yeah, I'm thinking they have to. Because at some point,
seems way too
the
low.
bigger creators that people are liking are going to, surpass that. Yeah, especially that this is a game that people want to play for years and years.
Yeah, I get where their head's at with not wanting people to flood the thing. And I know that it's an uphill battle for them to do that. But yeah, that seems like not really the answer to me. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Have you messed around with the creator tools at all? No.
Though I did get some new creator tools in through the story mode, which are pretty cool. I don't know the exact details for one. One, some kind of weird, I think it's like a Mario 2 mushroom or like a Game Boy-ish style mushroom where it makes Mario. I think it's for Super Mario Bros. 1. It's only in that one. It makes him Big Mario or whatever, but it does some weird things like changing his look to, I think it's more like a Game Boy, and it changes the music and all that. It's pretty cool. And
that's cool.
A new power up for the 3D world style, where you become Builder Mario, and you can use the hammer to break stuff, and you can create blocks to throw and get over obstacles and stuff.
Okay.
And you can't make an infinite number of blocks. You can only have like up to 3 or 4.
That's cool though.
So people can make pretty interesting platforming / puzzle things like that.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know how it works if you can use that to make a level, but then someone downloads it and doesn't have the item. I imagine if as long as the creator has the item, it should be fine.
Like it would just start letting you use the item or something,
or let you play the level with that item because that's how the person created it.
Yeah. I feel like they had to have thought of that.
Yeah.
They wouldn't let you do it if it was just impossible. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that stuff is cool.
That's cool. Yeah, obviously we'll talk way more about Mario Maker probably for a long time to come. Like, this is going to be a game that you're not going to ever delete from your Switch, probably, because it's just going to be, you can always just flip over and start playing it. You know? Yep. Well, have you played anything else, Jeffrey?
I have. I played a little game called, I've been playing a little game called A Hat in Time.
Ooh, Jeff, A Hat in Time. Picked it up on the Steam sale, didn't you?
Yeah. It's like $20 or something for the deluxe edition, which came with all the DLC, and I think it's soundtrack and all that. Little things.
Well, Jeff, what is A Hat in Time for the unfamiliar?
A Hat in Time is a little indie 3D platformer that is reminiscent of like the N64 or late 90s, early 2000s style platformers like Mario and Banjo and stuff. The kind of collectathon style platformers.
Yeah.
And it does it a lot better than Yooka-Laylee.
Yeah, I was about to say, there it is.
Which makes me sad.
Yeah. But I mean, that is what I've heard. I've heard that this is the thing that probably scratches that itch.
Oh, yeah.
The way that you want
it. It is charming as hell. The little character called Hat Kid is adorable.
Hat Kid.
Yep. And obviously, the way powers work in this, you collect hats by collecting yarn, and then you can make them. And they each have powers, and then you can get different designs for the hats and switch in and out and all that, and you can get different outfits for the kid as well as different colors. I just got to the first DLC level, which is I think it's technically the second DLC level, but it's the first one you unlock now because they made the requirements for it less than the first DLC that came out. Which I can't remember the name of it. It's a cat city where all the NPCs are just cats.
All right.
Like and some of them are gangster cats.
Hell yeah, they are.
And you're working for the head cat to collect hourglasses for them. She gives you money.
Working for the Meowfia.
They haven't said that. But I got a little outfit where I'm just wearing a jacket with a cat tail attached to it. They gave me a baseball bat and a cat mask and cat ears. It's adorable.
That sounds great.
Yeah. So, the way this game is structured, there are different worlds or whatever. The way the game started, you're on your spaceship. You're heading home. You have hourglasses.
Is your spaceship a giant hat?
I don't think I've actually seen the outside of the spaceship. I don't know what it's like.
Oh.
Yeah. And then a member of the mafia from the first worlds come up, just hit the side of the spaceship in the glass and kind of just knocking at it, kind of like, hey, we're the mafia. Everything belongs to us, even the stuff that comes around our planet. Let me in. He kind of breaks in. And all the mafia guys in this world look at the exact same. They have the exact same voice, and they wear an apron that says, like, Kiss the Chef and stuff. Or Mafia number 7 or something.
Okay.
So that's the thing. That's what and he breaks the glass, and because they're in space, everything comes out in a vacuum, including all the hourglasses.
That's just science.
Yeah. And rains on, goes into the different worlds or whatever, and you're going down the worlds to collect things. And each world is actually pretty different. The first one is it's kind of like I said, the mafia world is just kind of just a city with a whole bunch.
Is it like a semi-open world type thing in these?
Yeah, all these are kind of like their own little small open world things that you can jump around and get collectibles and complete your task or whatever.
Yeah,
one complaint I kind of have for at least some of the worlds, and there are reasons for this, I guess because there's some levels that kind of require this, I guess it makes sense, is it's one of those things where when you go into a level, you select your mission, and then you go to kind of that area, and that's the only mission you can do. It's not a thing like in a lot of like Mario Odyssey where you just go into the world and collect stuff. And you kind of got an open world. 2 of the levels do that. The DLC Cat City thing, and then one of the other levels does that. But for a lot of it, you go and you select your mission, you do it, and then you just get popped right back into your ship, which is the hub world.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And as you're collecting these hourglasses, different parts of your ship are opened up to you, and that's how you get to the new levels and all that.
A lot of replayability.
Yeah. Not the craziest amount. I guess you can go back and do that stuff, but you can get all the collectibles pretty quickly as far as the important ones. There aren't too many hourglasses. I guess not. This game's not the longest. I think it takes like maybe 10-ish hours to get done with it. Maybe longer because of the 2 DLC levels, because they're including the final world, which I think is just one boss battle thing, little boss thing. There are 5 worlds in the base game, counting that final thing, and then there are 2 DLC levels.
Okay.
So not a crazy amount, which is not bad.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
I like doable games.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, the worlds are very interesting. One of them is you're in a bird world, and where the birds are making a movie, and you're the star of the Penguins movie and the Owls movie, and they're competing against each other.
Yeah.
And you just kind of do a back and forth thing where you do it, you get points based off of it, and depending on how you do in those levels, on each side of the levels, depends who wins in the end. So you can potentially sabotage the other one if you really like.
Nice. Well, yeah, one of my favorite things just about, well, yeah, all my favorite 3D platformers, kind of like, yes, they're 3D platformers, but they also like, they delve into a bunch of different things. Just with like, you know, you think of Sly Cooper games. Like, yes, you're 3D platforming, do all that, but you're also like, it'll become a rhythm game for this one thing. It'll become like a racing game for this other thing. This Hat in Time have that variety.
Yeah, it does that kind of thing. Yeah, it does that some too. There are a couple levels where you get special hats that are only in that level. For like one, you get a detective hat.
Yeah.
So you're trying to solve a mystery and you're collecting clues and stuff. And another one where you get a, marching band hats, and you're going through a city with a marching band and jumping around and doing stuff.
Nice. And
there's one world that's a horror world where you're pretty much selling your soul to a devil type creature. And one of the missions you got to do that is you go through a haunted mansion where there's this ghost trying to follow you.
Nice.
And try to capture you, and you're like
Luigi's
hiding under the bed and
Mansion
stuff. Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
So it had that diversity that like.
Yeah, all the levels are very different. Like,
that's cool. Because like this is something I want to scratch, like the Sly Cooper itch is where like my biggest itch is, but that kind of thing, which sounds like a game that I would want to play.
Yeah, the art, you can look at the art style and tell it's a little, not the biggest budget, but it's a very charming art style. It works. Voice acting is actually, for pretty solid for it.
Okay.
So that's a plus.
Yeah, art style is definitely my biggest turnoff. Just looking at this game, not looking too deep into it. Like, I didn't love it. I haven't looked at it in a while, and maybe I would get more used to it.
I think you get used to it. Like, honestly, the thing that I think overall may look the worst is the hat girl herself. But you kind of see her emote and all that stuff, and you just kind of like.
It makes more sense.
You pull in and get into the charm because she's. Just with her little emotes and all that kind of stuff, she's a little charming kid.
Yeah.
So
cool. Yeah. Cool. And you just got this for like $20, right?
I got the Luck Edition with all the DLC, and also something that's cool. Some of the stuff I don't know if it's PC. I think there are a couple PC only things right now. But it does have local co-op.
Nice.
So you can play through the whole game 2-player.
Cool.
So maybe we can jump in and do that a little bit.
See how that is. Yeah.
Because you can jump in and do any of the missions at any time. Do them again.
That's cool. Yeah. I don't know.
Well, yeah, you can.
Sweet.
So I recommend it if you're someone who is itching for a cool 3D platform, because we don't get many of those these days. That especially from something that's not Nintendo.
Not nearly enough of them. Like, yeah.
And it's supposed to be coming the Switch at some point. I'm not completely sure what the update is on that.
Didn't this come out like 2 years ago or something?
Yeah, 2017 sounds right.
Yeah.
But yeah,
well, cool.
Yeah.
Well, do you have anything else?
I believe that is all for the games.
Alrighty, yeah. I played more Crosscode. Not really going to talk about it here. I'll probably talk about it when I get further into it. Just it's the puzzles. It is a puzzle game, which but it's cool though. I like it a lot.
Nice.
All right, Jeff. It's time for some news. Hit me with that news jingle.
Jingle, jingle, jangle, Darby.
Jingle, jingle, jangle. And this was an unexpected one.
Oh.
This first one.
Okay, yeah, I just kind of got some choice information from this article, but the article is from Ryan Percat from IGN. I think they kind of got the exclusive scoop for the news.
Yeah.
Okay. The Cuphead show has been announced by Netflix. And
what?
Important. The title has an exclamation point at the end. Very important.
Very important.
Yeah.
Very important.
It will feature a 1930s style animation. Makes sense.
If it didn't, then we would laugh it out of the room.
Yeah. It will be hand-drawn by Netflix in-house animation studios. The Cuphead studio is not going to handle it because they said that it would never get done.
Fair.
Yeah, fair. They got their own stuff to work on.
They have enough to deal with.
Yep. To describe the show, the press release said, the character-driven comedy follows the unique misadventures of the impulsive Cuphead and his cautious but easily swayed brother, Mugman. Through their many misadventures across their surreal home of the Inkwell Isles, they've always got one another's backs. And
so when do you want to break? Do you want to just break in and talk about it here?
Yeah, we can just break in.
So, Cuphead show. I'm
for this.
Yes, yeah. I
like as far as picking a video game thing that potentially can do a show, animated or otherwise, this is a very good choice.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, like at least from a visual and like music standpoint, it kind of writes itself. Like a lot of their work is done for them. Like it's immediately visually appealing from an animated perspective. Like just watching the Cuphead boss fights is just beautiful, and it's just so nostalgic immediately, and so is the music and everything else.
They got a bunch of characters on technically if they want to go go that route done.
And like the only like negative I could see is that the story in Cuphead itself is obviously kind of thin, because that's like not really the
might get to that,
but because that's not really the focus. But that's almost, I kind of see that more as like an opportunity, like because there are so like you said, there's so many different characters. There's so much you could do in that world if you you wanted.
We'll get to that, Dari. This might.
Yeah.
I don't know how much you read into this, but we'll get to that. When describing the kind of comedy, the creators of Cuphead said that it's safe for kids, but written so that there are also things that adults find funny and appeals to a wider audience, and not a toddler show or little kids cartoon. It's safe to say that the showrunners are aiming for the same kind of vibe that the game hints at. They'll be taking that idea and expanding it. That sounds good to me.
Yep. Yeah.
And it will not be a retelling of the game.
Yeah.
It will have more of a Mickey Mouse cartoon style where Mickey is known to one episode be a pilot selling hot dogs or a musician. So it won't necessarily have a coherent like overarching story. It'll just be each episode is
its own story.
Cuphead and Mugman doing some crazy goofy thing.
Yeah, which like that kind of seems more like a 1930s cartoon too. Yeah. Like that type of vibe. Tom and Jerry type vibe.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And again, they got those characters designs already locked down where they can do a whole bunch of different things.
Yeah.
And give those bosses more actual character.
This is something that
it's probably gonna be a silent thing too. I don't know if they've said that or not. But.
Yeah, I immediately kind of
or like a Tom and Jerry type thing.
Yeah. Or I mean, like Cuphead did have like some dialogue in its own thing,
true,
like so it might have like some minor dialogue, but I don't expect like Cuphead and Mugman to be like, constantly talking.
And I was gonna finish it off with some showrunner info. Quote, for King Features, CJ Kedler will serve as the executive producer, and creators Chad and Jared Moldenhauer will serve as executive producers for Studio MDHR. The series will be produced with Netflix Animation and is executive produced by Emmy and Annie Award-winning producer Dave Wasson, known for Mickey Mouse, and Cosmo Sugerson, known for Rocko's Modern Life. Static Kling serve as co-executive producer. Supervising directors are Clay Morrow, also for Mickey Mouse, and Adam Poloian from SpongeBob SquarePants. It's pretty good names there.
Yeah, it's a very big names there. This is something that like I could see it being like really good and not necessarily catching on, but I could see this becoming something where like there's a bunch of kids that know Cuphead and not for the games. Like they just know Cuphead because it became a big cartoon. Like I could totally see that happening.
Yep. As we said at the beginning of this, Cuphead has a whole lot of potential to be very good, and catch on. Well, speaking of catching on, Darby, they also added a little note in this, which is kind of new information. I forgot to put it on here, but I remembered it. They announced that Cuphead is now sold over 4 million copies.
Nice. Yeah,
the last we heard was like 3 million sometime last year.
That is very big for
that
type of game. Yeah,
I'm sure.
That small
I'm sure the Switch version helped get it over.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. No, this could I could. Like we said, this just seems like a slam dunk. In comparison to so many in comparison to how much unease I feel over them saying like, we're making a live action Final Fantasy 14 TV show. I'm like, a Cuphead animated show, it just seems like lock it in, man. Like, there's like money in the bank.
I'm gonna watch this.
It sounds like. And especially if they're able to get kids into this, which I think they could,
and also get the adults, like it's saying, it's obviously it's going to try to appeal for kids, but also be one of the cartoons that has stuff that adults can enjoy, have some adult jokes that go over kids' heads some and all that kind of
The
stuff.
only thing that maybe worries me is the 1930s cartoon style, like kids not being like today's kids not gravitating.
I mean,
towards it. But I think if it's
here's the
putting
thing:
the
a
right
lot of
things,
kids, is depending on what age kids we're talking about, they'll watch anything.
yeah. Like, I will try to get Clara and Erica to definitely watch this.
Yeah.
To get my nieces to watch this for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it sounds really cool, and I'm just excited to see. I hope they can like nail that level of animation though, because obviously Cuphead was hand drawn. They said that like they're gonna make it hand drawn, but probably not on paper this time, because it's just like it was literally like frame by frame. They drew Cuphead on paper. This is obviously not going to be that level because they have so much more to do. But I hope that they're able to like
and it seems that the Studio 8, I always forget the letters.
MDHR.
Yeah, I always forget the letters. Yeah, they seem to be pretty decently involved, so that's good.
Yeah.
As far as giving producing it or whatever the hell.
Yeah, I am optimistic about that. I'm very optimistic.
I feel like this is the most optimistic we've been about a video game like show announcement.
And I would be a lot more optimistic about all of these if they said, hey, we're making animated shows. The Castlevania one, great. I mean,
I need to watch it.
It's so much easier to make a good animated show than it is a live action show.
Speaking of live action shows, Derby, this had to come up.
Live action shows that I'm not as optimistic about.
Yeah. Technically not a video game.
Even though I think these photos are actually fine, but go ahead.
There's not much to this. New photos have been released for the Witcher Netflix series, showing off Geralt, Ciri, and Yennefer.
It's so hard to really tell anything off of photos. There's like...
I agree, but I feel like, and I've, you just said they look good, and that's kind of why I bring up. A lot of people, I think, were understandably a little down about the original Henry Cavill show-off as Geralt, but...
because it was just poorly done.
Yeah, but I feel like most people... after seeing these photos are more like, okay, at least he's looking right.
Yeah.
There's still those kind of people that are like, oh, he still looks too good. Like, did you see Geralt in The Witcher 3? He's a gorgeous man.
He is a rugged man, but he is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do like I had less problems with him than like when I looked at Yennefer and Ciri. They didn't just immediately jump out to me as like, oh yes, that looks like Yennefer and Ciri, but also it's set photos. Like we really are not going to be able to tell until they're actually acting. I mean, there's a lot of other roles that if you had shown me like a picture of a lot of other people, I'd been like, no, this is not going to work out. Who knows? I'm still don't feel great about this. I just don't feel like it's going to have the budget it needs and all that other stuff. But I do agree. And I'm fine with Henry Cavill in theory if they give him enough to work with. So we'll see. I mean,
apparently it's still coming out this year.
The photos do look kind of generic, I will say. It's just like random, like standing in a hillside. But honestly, it would be very hard to not make it set photos of The Witcher look generic. And because kind of part of The Witcher is that it seems very generic on the surface, and then you get into it, and it's actually kind of like a deconstruction of like fairy tale type stuff and all that. That's kind of the whole point. So we'll see. I'm interested. I'm interested. I want to watch it and then report to you and tell you whether you should try this or not. Like whether you should like give this a shot as like someone who doesn't know.
I make my own decisions. I can watch it if I want.
Well, whether I give it my recommendation or not.
Man, if it comes out and that's enough people be like, hey, this is good. I'll be like, okay, I'll jump in, screw it. Depending on what I got going on.
At least it all takes place before the games.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's technically different, right?
It's technically in the same canon.
Yeah, okay.
It's technically that he had like they gave him amnesia and kind of like made their own canon afterwards. But apparently, I'm pretty sure it's still supposed to take place like after the Witcher books. It's weird. But you shouldn't be getting anything spoiled, basically, for The Witcher 3 is all I'm saying. Like, it's different enough, or it's very different, so.
Obviously, from this series, younger than in Witcher 3.
Yes, yeah. Because this is, as far as I know, this is just straight up retelling the books, which she's a child at the beginning of that. Like, she's a little kid, so. Yeep, yeep. She becomes a badass, though. Spoilers.
It goes to Cyberpunk land.
And then goes to Cyberpunk land. It's canon. Lock it in.
I want to see Keanu Reeves talk to Siri.
Yeah, we all do, Jeff.
Okay. Moving on, Darby. To Pokemon.
It's the Pokemon. All right, I'm gonna go. Bye. You have fun.
But all right, I gotta hear you talk about cake.
Okay, I'll stay for the cake, Jeff. You convinced me.
Okay, so let's get into them Pokemon news. We got a new
You
trailer.
pulled out the cake.
I got pictures because I need to show you the designs.
Okay,
It's like,
I know that
yeah.
one.
Okay, so yeah, we got a new Pokemon trailer yesterday.
And trainer.
Yeah, new trainers. And it showed off a good bit of new info, Darby.
Okay.
We got some new Pokemon, including Yamper, being officially
I'm about to
announced.
say we already knew it. Yeah.
Yeah, and we got Fritz exclamation. Well, we knew this. He's just an electric type, base electric type. No other.
Electric doggo.
Yeah. And he has an ability called Ball Fetch. He's a very good boy, Darby. when you're trying to catch a Pokemon and you throw the ball and it doesn't work, he fetches the ball for you.
That is so.
For
He's the
one.
best Pokemon. He
Yes.
is a good.
He's a very good boy.
He's a very good boy.
Is this one that we need to get on our Nuzlocke
Absolutely.
or try to get?
Are you kidding me? Yeah. He probably sucks, doesn't he? Like attack wise, he's probably gonna suck.
I mean, he's probably going to evolve.
Yeah.
I expect him to evolve.
Does he become like a Rottweiler? Like a just
I don't know.
vicious like attack
Very
dog?
big court.
Yeah.
Wait, that's Dynamax Yamper.
Yeah.
Alcremie, which is a fairy type, which is whipped cream with strawberries.
Again, just logistically, you're out in the sun with this like, is it? Yeah, it's all whipped cream. Like, he's not gonna have a good time, Jeff. He's gonna melt. He's gonna smell bad. He's made of dairy.
Yeah.
In the sun.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be a good time.
Yep. Probably the most controversial Pokemon in the set. People were upset, like, oh, just getting food again. They're out of ideas, blah, blah, blah. People, one of the first Pokemon we had was a literal bird. Pidgey is just a bird.
It's just a bird. It's not
And
even like a
Geodude just a rock with eyes and fists out of it because
and
Voltorb is literally a Pokeball with eyes.
Xandra is just a ferret. You can tell that I don't know what their actual name is.
Yeah.
What's the actual Pokemon?
I'm blanking. As a Zagoon is.
Zigzagoon is just a ferret.
Yeah. We got Roly-Coly.
Oh, that name. I haven't seen Roly-Coly. Is he like a
He's a rock Pokemon.
He's like a molten rock thing.
And he has an ability called
a little like molten. He's probably gonna become something bad.
Steam Engine. And here, Derek, people have theories for this already, especially with that ability called Steam Engine. Right there, Derek, on the bottom is a wheel. People are thinking he becomes a train, a rock train.
Oh shit!
And potentially become like a rock fire type.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that's one I'm
and
thinking
his name
about.
is Roly-Coly.
Yes.
I like it.
Because he's a coal.
I'm down with it.
And he rolls.
Yes. I'm down with it.
Roly-Coly.
I'm down with it a lot.
Yep. And
that does a lot for
the
me.
last new Pokemon is Dorludon.
Dorludon.
He's a steel dragon.
Dorludon.
He's a steel dragon Pokemon.
Is he like... he looks like a cannon.
Surprisingly, he only weighs 88 pounds.
Is that like a gun? Is he a gun?
Might be. Apparently, he's the rival of the Pokemon Tyranitar, which, if I believe, is one of Alex's favorite Pokemon.
I think either Yampers or Roly-Coly is the best.
Okay.
Roly-Coly has the highest potential.
Indeed.
I think Yampers wins right now, but Roly-Coly in the future.
Mm-hmm. You're already thinking of Pokemon you want on our Nuzlocke team, Dark?
we're still in the first like freaking 6 Pokemon or whatever that we've ever.
And it's still
seen.
gonna be old.
Yeah.
The thing is, for you, unless they're in Emerald, any
They're
Pokemon
all
would be
new.
new. Yeah, for the most part.
I've seen some of them,
Yeah,
but most of them would be new.
well, new to using it at the very least, definitely.
Well, and you guys have definitely been surprised by some of the Pokemon that I didn't know, that I don't know when I see them. So yeah. Like, I can't believe that I never saw, like, no one ever showed me Spoink.
Yeah, I'm not surprised you.
The best Pokemon.
I'm not surprised you didn't know Spoink.
Yeah, that was Spoink. I don't know, but Spoink is great.
Okay. One of the biggest things is Gigantamaxing was announced.
If you thought
Not
Dynamax wasn't enough,
It wasn't. It's a new form of Dynamaxing where the Pokemon gets big and also changes form.
Woo!
The only Pokemon confirmed to Gigantamax right now are Alchemy, Corviknight, and Dreadnought.
Ooh, Corviknight. What is he gonna become? I wonder. Oh, it kind of just looks like a bigger version of himself with red stuff around him.
That's pretty much it, and he gets little birdie feather friends to attack.
Okay, could have been better. I have to say, could have been better.
Could have been.
Yep. Corviknight's still cool though. What do you think about there just being another level off of Dynamax? Does it do anything for you either way?
Yeah, I think it's cool.
Yeah.
I like when Pokemon change forms. Alchemy, it just becomes a giant cake.
Yeah, which I think that is dope.
Yeah.
But like as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, okay, they could actually like play around with this. They could like have different,
Oh yeah,
like different Pokemon
and Dreadnought just
special-
becomes a kaiju.
Nice.
Yeah.
I hope a lot of them have that though, because that's way more interesting to me than Dynamax. Dynamax is just they get big.
Yeah.
Who cares?
So
but if they actually like change into something cool.
I thought of this and just kind of what Dynamaxing in general, and I've talked about it before. I kind of like the thing about Dynamax is, which is cool, is the fact that on a base level, any Pokemon can use it. Yeah. So it's different than like Mega Evolution, where like certain Pokemon can Mega Evolve. But some Pokemon obviously get more out of it with Gigantamaxing, because only some of them will be able to do it. So you think like
Gigantamax is the real Mega Evolution, and Dynamax is like some new thing so that everyone can have something?
Yeah. So, Gigantamaxing in particular is kind of a combination of Mega Evolutions and Z moves from Sun and Moon, which are just Mega moves that people can do. Because obviously get the form change. Each Gigantamax Pokemon gets a special move as well. I can't remember the names or anything or exactly what they do. But Alchemy's giant cake super move, whatever, I can't remember what it's called, does a thing where it heals itself, I think, and whatever.
Cool Whip, and she like whips you with.
Yeah. Might be one of his ability names. I don't know. It heals. I think it heals itself, and if is a double battle, its partner, and also deals damage to the other person. So it heals and damages, which is good. Crazy.
That's very good.
So it does crazy stuff like that, and yeah. And one thing I like about this, what they're doing with Gigantamaxing in this, is they're actually doing it with the current gen Pokemon. Because one of the things criticisms of Mega Evolution when it happened in Gen 6 was none of the Gen 6 Pokemon got to Mega Evolve.
It was all old ones.
It was all old ones. Particularly a lot of them were Gen 1.
Yeah.
To surprise no one.
Yeah.
So it looks like they're going to be plenty of Gen 8 Pokemon that can do it. And because of the leak, that is 100% true now. 100%. We know some older Pokemon are going to do it, like Pikachu, who just becomes Fat Pikachu. Okay, the classic fat Pikachu.
Yeah.
Meowth becomes longer or something. Does something weird. And Lapras, who's apparently gonna be more song oriented, is gonna have like music notes going on, all kind of stuff. Nice. So old and new Pokemon are going to do this. I'm interested to see how many do it and how spread out it's gonna be between the generations. I'm sure it's gonna be, as far as old Pokemon, lean more towards Gen 1 like it always does, but
yeah. But the cake thing is a good sign for me, because that's a very creative thing. Like if you're thinking, oh, we have this weird dessert themed Pokemon, what would its giant version be? A giant cake. Like,
no, I
cool.
like.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah. I think that's a very cool one, and I'm thinking Charizard might get it because that's what the champion's main Pokemon is. But Charizard gets everything, so part of me is like,
hasn't Charizard had so many forms?
He has two Mega Evolutions. He's one of two Pokemon that has two Mega Evolutions, him and Mewtwo.
And they'll give it to him again.
Probably.
He's a popular boy.
Yeah. Okay. Only rare Pokemon caught through raid battles can Gigantamax, which what that means is only certain Pokemon can obviously Gigantamax, but not all Alchemies can Gigantamax. So if you catch a normal Alchemy, it won't be able to Gigantamax. Only ones do caught during the raid battle things.
Gotcha.
So incentive to do that.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to figure out how that's gonna work in Nuzlocke. It probably won't.
You're allowed one raid.
We'll figure that out later once we get more information. But The good news is for raid battles, it seems like you don't need to actually do it with people. You can do it with computers and all kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem like only one person out of the 4 can get the Pokemon. Because that would really, suck so much, really suck to try to catch these Pokemon if only one person did it. And then, especially during a strangers, people would be arguing about, no, I'm going to try to catch it. And then you'll just pretty much be screwing each other over and probably not catch it.
Yeah, that sounds miserable.
Yeah, so hopefully it's just, they haven't confirmed it, which worries me. But I'm hoping it's just as easy as everyone, if they catch it, everyone gets one.
Everyone gets it, yeah.
Maybe stats can be vary a little differently in the nature and all that, and IVs and all that. But...
yeah, one would hope, Jeff, but who knows?
Yep. Moving on. Let's see. Some version exclusive Pokemon were announced. The Dano and Jangmo O lines will be exclusive to Sword, while the Larvitar and Gumi lines are exclusive to Shield. And it's not like you saw this, Darby, but these are the...
yeah, it wasn't like the best quality version of it. Yeah.
I'm going with Shield because Larvitar and Gumi are beasts.
I have to say, like, none of these are doing a whole lot for me, but the trainers are the ones that did do more for me. I don't know. I feel like Dude Man on the left could become something cool.
I mean, we already know what those are old Pokemon, so we know what they turn into.
Ah,
yeah.
Then never mind. Get out of here. Who cares? No, but they was just kind of like default Pokemon to me. Don't look like anything special.
They evolve into cool things, Darby.
I'm sure they do. But I'm just telling you what I'm looking at in front of me with my eyes is kind of lame.
Okay. New gym leaders. Bea, whatever, Bay. And B and Alistair were shown off.
B. Like your shirt.
Yep. B will be exclusive to Pokemon Sword and Alistair will be exclusive to Pokemon Shield. So what they confirmed is the version exclusive gym leaders. Which some people are pissed about.
So that's never happened before, has it?
It happened once, but they had the exact same Pokemon, the same type. This is different because they're different types, so obviously they're gonna have different Pokemon.
So how does that work? They just pick one of the gyms and
both
games have different leaders?
They showed in a trailer or something. Yep, the gym in the same place. The design's just different. The person in it's different.
So, like, but when you're playing the 2 versions, like, all your gyms are going to be the same except for this one random one? Is it like an optional gym or something? Or is it like
No, it's one of the main gyms.
Okay.
Also, this is one of those things people just kind of noticed it, so I have no idea who to give credit to this to.
Okay.
But people noticed on the Galar map that we got, like, in the beginning that there was to be one other gym that... if you look at the map, a lot of the gyms have symbols on it or something, meaning what type of gym it is. There are apparently 2 gyms on there that are blank slates. One of them is this gym, and there's another gym that has it. So they're thinking that means that they're blank because it's one or the other. It's not like a set gym leader.
So there might be 2 different sets of exclusive gym.
That's what it seems to be.
I mean, to me, it just seems like cool. So there's some differences. I mean, that seems
Some
cool,
people are pissed about that. I'm like, okay.
I don't know. But if you're just
like,
judging...
these are the most Danganronpa as Pokemon characters I have ever seen. Some person...
both of them do.
Photoshop this girl B onto the Danganronpa screen. I'm like, yes, that's why I like it. It's just like Danganronpa characters.
Straight up looks like a
Danganronpa she would be the ultimate martial artist in that game, and he'd be like the ultimate, I don't know.
This is the better.
Like Ghost Whisperer or something.
This is the better one. You can tell. I tell people the shield one, right? Alistair. That's the shield one. Yeah. The shield one's like a zombie person with giant bowling ball eyes.
Yep.
Obviously the better one.
People were really loving B. I mean, look at those abs, Darby. A girl with defined abs.
Those are some pretty defined. Okay, they're both good. Both good options. Yeah.
So they're both something. I mean, here's something that's also
they're Danganronpa fans, basically.
Yeah. Something really good about I'm liking so far with Sword and Shield is that I'm liking the Pokemon designs a lot, and the human character designs have been on point so far.
Yeah. That first was it a gym leader?
The water gym leader?
Yeah.
And the grass one,
her
Milo,
design's
really
super
cool too.
Yeah, with his big old hat.
Yep. Okay, so I'll wrap up the rest of this Pokemon stuff real quick. Chairman Rose, the chairman of the Pokemon League, and Olena his secretary were also shown off. Darby, I'm going to show this to you and tell me this isn't the most obvious, like, he's actually a bad guy character ever.
He's just misunderstood. Look at him, Jeff. Look at him. He's fine. Don't let the swoopy hair fool you.
So what you're telling me, Darby, is this isn't this isn't actually a villain secretary.
Nah, no, definitely not. They're fine.
They're fine.
They're gonna try to destroy the world.
Probably. So yeah. The Pokemon trailer has really good. I've really been liking what they've been showing. Pokemon designs have been on point. Character design have been on point. I'm liking the designs. Some of the gameplay's design and stuff. Gigantic Maxing makes me feel a lot better about Dynamaxing in general.
Yeah. At least it's not just they get big.
Yeah.
End of story. At least there's more.
Show me Fat Pikachu. Also, we're getting a Farfetch'd evolution, so Surfetch'd.
Well, Cal will be happy.
He will be happy.
Surfetch'd.
We're going to try to get that on our team, Darby.
All right. And name him Bosman 2.
Yep.
Sequel to the Bosman.
Yep. Okay. Move on, Darby. Oop, let me get that timer up.
Yeah, please, because it makes my life easier.
Okay, Darby. Let's talk about some Star Wars. And why? And something kind of weird. I don't know. This comes from Matt Purslow from IGN. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order features a human hero because developer Respawn was concerned that an alien protagonist would alienate players.
Did they mean to do that?
IGN did, yeah, probably. Actually, I think they do it. Okay, yeah. I'll just read it. Talking to Game Informer, game director Stig Asmussen said that early in development, the team had discussed the idea of having an alien creature to be the player character, but eventually decided against it. Quote, ultimately, we didn't go with an alien race because we felt like, no pun intended, that would alienate a lot of people, Asmussen said. We wanted to make sure that there was a real human connection to the character that we have in the game. Although personally, that's more of kind of like a broader decision why we did it. Personally, I think it would be cooler to have an alien protagonist, end quote. The final result was Cal Kestis, a safe character design that doesn't feel a million miles away from characters that Star Wars fans are already familiar with. Cal was chosen to be a male character as well as a human, quote, because at the time, Rey was kind of a thing for Star Wars, so it made a lot more sense for us to have a male protagonist, end quote, according to Asmussen. Those reasons are bullshit.
Yeah, it's kind of like... is it surprising in the least?
No.
We all know that this is the reason why. It's the same reason why, they have Bioshock Infinite with Booker DeWitt, just with the... you just have white guy with gun on your cover because it sells better. And it's
I'm going to be honest. I think they might be saying the right thing, but I can see a universe where the main protagonist isn't Rey, and we still get this pretty much the same character. They have one female protagonist. We got to go with male for this video game.
Yeah, I think you don't really have to justify your character being male. Who cares if you wanted to make a white male human character or whatever? That's fine or whatever. But yeah, when
it's one of those things that makes it worse that you discussed it and give him dumb reasons.
Yeah, I don't think you need to give some bullshit reasons. Just say this is her character. It's if people are mad, whatever. But yeah, to like you say, it makes it worse because it's like you said, your reason should be this is the character we want to make, and not that makes no sense to have we just have Rey, so the market's done on.
Yeah, we met the female quota for the franchise.
Yeah, and I don't care either way as long as it's a compelling character.
Yeah,
I don't care what they are. I do think having an alien character would be cool because every main character in Star Wars ever is human.
Yeah.
And all its only side characters that we have all these cool alien races and they never ever 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 the focal point, which is kind of lame. But
give me a Wookiee Jedi.
Give him a Wookiee Jedi where he only speaks in this screams Wookiee screams the entire game, and you still have to try to make me cry.
Yes.
Yeah, but also in the same breath, I wish that they would do that, but it doesn't surprise me. Star Wars is so, and I'm not trying to make excuses for it, but Star Wars is so ridiculously popular, and EA knows this so ridiculously popular, and they're gonna play it as safe as they possibly can, because even if we all say we would rather have a cool alien protagonist and that would be cool, that would 100,000% sell less. If at least I think it probably would if you had front cover this guy with tentacles on his face.
But then you have stores for the type, and they're like, oh, cool.
Yeah, I mean, it would still sell a lot, and I would like it, and I think it would sell just fine. Honestly, I think they should just bite the bullet and do something like that if they want to, but I guess it is what it is. I don't know. It's kind of a bummer, though.
Hashtag gamers rise up.
I'm worried the game looks cool, but nothing about Cal has looked that remarkable to me thus far. So I am a little worried that he's gonna just kind of be like
I hope he has
just a milk toast.
What they need to do is have an evil long lost twin brother who's pretty much the Joker.
Yep.
Who is a Sith.
Voiced by Mark Hamill.
No, just voiced by him because he's the Joker too, remember?
Voiced by him, yeah. He voices both, yeah. Yep.
Okay, moving on. Speaking of, I don't know, statements.
Yeah, I'm about to say, like, try to tie these together. I don't know what you're going to use.
I could, but I was about to say something, but whatever. Moving on. Matt Purcell from IGN. Mario creator and Nintendo veteran Shigeru Miyamoto has contested the idea that Nintendo has fallen behind on technology such as online network services and virtual reality. During a question and answer session as part of Nintendo's annual general meeting of shareholders, Nintendo was asked about the impression that it has been a little slow to join global trends such as cloud computing, mobile, and VR. Quote, we have not fallen behind with either VR or network services. We worked on them from the very beginning and have been experimenting with them in a variety of ways. In that time, we have objectively evaluated whether they actually allow our consumers to have an enjoyable play experience and whether we can operate them at an appropriate cost. He continued, because we don't publicize this until we release a product, it may look like we're falling behind, end quote. Regarding the issue of cloud gaming, Miyamoto said, I think that cloud gaming will become more widespread in the future, but I have no doubt that there will continue to be games that are fun because they are running locally and not on the cloud.
I love you, Miyamoto, but bullshit.
That's what I was getting at. Speaking of bullshit statements.
Okay, there you go. Yeah. Well, I think that's fair. It's very fair. I think anyone with a brain who can think, reason, knows that Nintendo is behind on online services. Now, we can argue, like, how much that matters, you know, what's the value in there or whatever, are they fine with that, you know, or like how much does it hold them back? We can argue that point, but they are behind.
Yeah.
Look no further than their like biggest games right now. It's Smash, Mario Maker 2, Mario Kart 8. All of them should be like have a huge online focus. Like they're all games that like it just inherently that should be a huge pillar of them, and some of them they kind of are in spite of how shitty the services are.
Yeah,
you look at Mario Maker 2.
Some of their weird decisions.
Yeah, Mario Maker 2 is like it runs like shit a lot of times when you have any online service. It's way too hard to like find levels that you want to find. Like type in these insanely long codes for every level that you want to like search for. It's just stupid. Smash Online fails about half the time that you operate it. The few times I've done Mario Kart 8, it was about the same. It's bad. It's just shit.
Yeah.
And like we know that like Nintendo, I love them and they do so many things right, but online services is not one of them. And I know that you kind of have to say this. You can't come out and say like, "Yep, we suck," but you are behind. And Nintendo is absolutely behind. I imagine you agree.
Yeah, but they're ahead on VR, Darby. Plays out on VR.
Yep, Labo VR.
Yep.
That's all you need. That's the latest. That's the peak of VR technology.
Yeah.
I don't know. It kind of bums me out because I feel like because we live in a world where Nintendo is pursuing games that would be greatly enhanced by a good online service. Like Mario Maker and so many other. It's not like Nintendo is just sitting alone making single player games and that's it. And it doesn't matter that their online services are subpar. It's not like we live in that world. We have Splatoon, we have Smash Bros, we have Mario Kart, we have Mario Maker. We're going to have new games coming out that would be better with online services.
Animal Crossing.
Animal Crossing is probably the biggest one.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure Pokemon's going to have a lot of things.
I mean, the max raid battles.
Yeah. And I bet you those games are going to have the similar problems that all of these games have. And it sucks. It sucks for Nintendo to be so ahead of the curve on so many things, but then kind of holding themselves back in so many others. Because like in Mario Maker, if you're like reviewing Mario Maker, you kind of have to talk about like, hey, if you're buying this game to play with other friends and do all this other stuff, it's subpar. It's not. You're not like we've never even come close to getting the same level of quality that we get on Sony and Nintendo, and I don't even think Sony's great. It's like it's just Nintendo. I don't know. They have a very like antiquated online infrastructure, and just their like online service in general is cheap, which is great, but you don't get a ton from it.
Nope. Tetris 99 though.
Yeah. And I mean, do you think, I guess just to make it an actual question about this and not just ranting, do you think Nintendo will, in the Switch's life cycle, start to fix this problem?
Man, it's hard to say like yes, because this has been a problem for like over 10 years at this point and they haven't fixed it. I guess they technically gotten better, but still a long way to go, and there's nothing like in particular where it looks like they're trying to fix it.
No. And statements like this make it seem like they're like, no, what are you talking about? We're great.
Yeah.
Nothing's wrong here. Sucks. Feels bad.
Feels bad, man.
Feels bad, man.
Okay, moving on. This comes from Sal Romano from Gamasi.
But it's all going to be okay when Sony buys them, right?
Yeah. Sony Entertainment President and CEO Jim Ryan told the Nihon Keizai Shimbun in a new interview that the company is considering the merger and acquisition of game development companies. According to Ryan, with companies such as Google enter the game industry, content is becoming more important than ever before. Companies new to the game industry looking at the market with hope is something we definitely welcome, Ryan said. He emphasized Sony Entertainment has 25 years of experience in the game industry and has big assets.
This is something that when I hear it, it doesn't like. I'm like, oh yeah, that's not that surprising. But then I stop and think about it. I was like, who could it actually be at this point?
Remedy.
Remedy's probably a good level of studio that could.
But it's like there's also Remedy's one of those things like talk about their independence and stuff, and then get bought.
Seems like a lot of studios do that though. Double Fine did that. Ninja Theory did that.
Yeah.
Lots of them do that. But most of the developers I think about now are like kind of that kind of situation where they've struck out on their own or they're like pretty good where they are. And like most of the ones I think of are either like very strongly independent or they're kind of like out of Sony's reach, I feel like, as far as being like if you get crazy with it and go like Capcom or something like that.
I saw people mention Bungie.
That's
I'm
crazy.
like, they're... No.
Well, no, that's not happening, but for a whole slew of other reasons. I don't know. Like, this makes sense with Xbox also buying a bunch of studios right now and like kind of obviously beefing up their first party lineup for the coming generation.
And it's kind of, it felt like that was Microsoft problem, but where Microsoft purchased, they're diversifying when it seems like they were kind of one note with their exclusives. Yeah. Sony is arguably becoming that too, just a story driven, mixture of semi-open world or open world or whatever.
Yeah,
I mean,
games. I mean, you look at Days Gone, and it's like, yep, that looks like a Sony first-party game, just in structure.
Yeah,
like it looks a lot like Horizon, which it looks a lot like God of War, which looks a lot like Uncharted in certain ways. You know, yeah.
So this could be a way for them to diversify their lineup, and I just said that when. I said that, then I mentioned them kind of half seriously buying like Remedy. Yeah. That's kind of the same thing.
I could see it also being like some smaller ones too. Yeah. Like the Concrete Genie level, like maybe a little bigger, but like that level of studio, like, game studio, like that level of game as well. That's the type of thing that I could potentially see. But I mean, it makes sense that they need to compete with Xbox, but again, it's just hard to immediately, maybe it won't come to us until they actually buy someone. Yeah. But I just can't think of the obvious ones like that makes sense.
I mean, yeah. To be fair, I mean, like Microsoft wouldn't have expected like Obsidian
Or Ninja
Theory or Double Fine necessarily.
No, they didn't expect any of those.
Yeah, so
they could be
a lot of them is not expected until they actually happen.
right. Yeah. I see a lot of people also throw around Insomniac, which
I think Insomniac's fine with. I think Insomniac's happy with what they're doing.
I think so,
especially with how well Spider-Man sold. They're fine.
They definitely financially they're fine, and they So I wouldn't expect that one either. But
nope. Okay, let's see.
Well, and just the other part of it. Sorry, just really quick is kind of the difference between Sony and Microsoft is that Sony, even without owning a lot of these studios, they still have a bunch of exclusives.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you think of like Persona exclusives. Like, there's just so many like JRPG series and so many a bunch of series that are exclusive to Sony, even without them owning it.
With that said, it's becoming more and more, and this is still very important. I'm not saying that, but a lot of those games are becoming less like just pure exclusive, like Persona, and becoming more console exclusive. A lot more of those games are becoming to PC. Like the Yakuza games now on PC.
Right. Yep. I wish Persona would.
And a lot of games like that are coming to PC, and for some people, that's why a main reason they bought PlayStation, because those are the ones with Persona on it. But now
it's becoming less and less.
I mean, Tales games used to be pretty much also. Now they're also on PC.
Yeah.
So,
and I think the more that happens, the more like I do think exclusives are going to be pretty important come next console generation as far as actually buying your box.
I'm all for all these. It seems like a bunch of these Japanese companies going ahead and put on their PC. That's means more money for them.
Yep. Oh yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Like the devs doing well. Okay, Darby, we got I guess a kind of a leak. Not a crazy leak, but according to Amazon UK, there will be a Batman Arkham Collection that will release in September. It will feature the quote-unquote main Arkham games, being Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and Arkham Knight. The shade to Arkham Origins.
How dare Origins?
Origins is a good game, though.
Yeah, that's what I hear, Alan.
And they never talk about it in here.
They just never talk about it. They never acknowledge it.
Yeah, it's like WB Montreal just giving them the middle finger.
So isn't there something weird about this? Like, you can already play these on the modern consoles or something? Like, I saw people saying that this is pointless.
That's their,
people were saying that
there's the Return to Arkham collection. So they didn't have Knight.
So this collection is kind of pointless.
Kind of. I guess it depends on the price point if it's cheaper than getting them. But I've seen multiple times, like Arkham Knight, I think was just on sale for like $5.
I think a lot of people like said that it basically broke even. Like you weren't saving any money, or at least from the leak or something.
But you get it all in one package.
So it's not really news. It's not that big of news.
No. It's just the shade towards Origins.
The shade. We're not here for the shade.
We're not here for the shade.
So you played Origins and liked Origins too?
Origins was awesome.
Okay, cool.
I think and I think one of the best Arkham boss fights with the Deathstroke fight. So, okay, moving on. This is Jeff news. Digimon Survive has officially been delayed till 2020. I am sad. And also, release the damn trailer you showed at Anime Expo, Bamco.
You cowards!
You cowards. They had a whole Digimon panel where they were showing off anime stuff and game stuff and stuff. They announced Stiver Sleuth collection with the 2 games. That's coming to Switch and PC and stuff.
Yeah.
When normally I think it was just on PS4 and Vita, and they delisted one of them. Like, it's gone. You can't get it anymore, download it or anything. So that's good as far as that game being there.
Yes. Yeah.
But then they put that trailer out, and you can pre-order it and all that kind of stuff. But apparently, I saw someone say there was like a 5-minute Digimon Survive trailer, and they freaking have not released it. You cowards! What are you hiding?
Jeff's gonna raid your offices in a few days if you don't.
Give it to me.
He needs that sweet trailer.
But watch, it's probably just a lot of the same stuff from this stuff we already knew.
Probably. Seems to happen a lot. Well, I'm sorry, Jeff, that you have to wait until 2020. Probably early 2020.
That's my fear.
So it means you can look forward to playing this next fall. Whenever you finally have time.
And Digimon Survive, I think it's a game I could play alongside some of these games, mainly Cyberpunk, when we get to that point.
Is it supposed to come out on everything?
It's on Switch. Yeah, it's on everything, including Switch. So yeah, that'll just be my Switch game probably.
Yeah. Digimon visual novel. Interesting.
And
visual strategy. Yeah.
Two things I really.
The art style looks really dope.
Yeah, I like I've said a lot of times, I like the vibe, and I'm all in for that game.
Yeah.
Hopefully the gameplay is good. That's my main fear, and I guess also the kind of the writing. But yeah, I have hope.
Digimon's usually pretty good, right?
Yeah.
I don't know about
Digimon
the games.
Try
I don't know about the games.
Was bad. Which is really bad, right? And they just announced a 20th anniversary movie. It's like the last evolution or something for the original main character. I wish I was more excited. I want to see my boy Agumon evolve again. And hopefully I see him Digivolve when he's announced for Smash. Okay.
Speaking of anime, what if they made a Love is War fighting game?
That'd be interesting. I think it's technically Shonen Jump, so just put in Jump Force.
I want Kaguya, or how do you say her name?
Kaguya.
I want her put in like Jump Force or something.
If they were still doing the J Stars type thing, yes, because they put all those romance and harem manga stuff.
I would be hyped. I would play your Jump Force copy for at least a little bit.
But they'd probably be like a support character.
Nah, need to be the main thing. I just I think we might have even talked about it on the podcast. They should just like use the weapons they have in like the intro. Yeah. I'd be here for it.
Yeah,
it's a good show.
Okay. Dirty, ready to talk about some Breath of the Wild?
I'm always ready to talk about Breath of the Wild.
Okay,
Jeff,
Dirty, let's get
the best
news.
game of 2017.
Yeah, well. May not that far. John Cartwright from Gamesplain has made a crazy discovery in The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Lorland Village, which is at the edge of the map, like in a corner of the map, and a place not many people have actually visited in the game.
Yeah, I still need to look on the map to see where this is. Like, I've seen the pictures of it, but I haven't seen where it actually is.
Well, it turns out it heavily resembles Outset Island from Wind Waker, the island you start out with. And
yeah.
The layout of the village, the design of the houses, and where the ladder leading up to a lookout is pretty much the same, and even some of the mountains. And
this is just absolutely insane to me that no one would have figured this out. Like,
yeah,
I'm not a Wind Waker guy, so obviously I would never have. But it's kind of baffling to me that no one would have found this.
Yeah, I think he found it because he was getting some footage for some other video or something, and then he just happened to notice it.
Because people have had so long to be in this game.
I mean, again, I think part of it is normally a certain, like, there aren't too many people that have been able to notice that, and then there are people that probably have not even been to this village or been there long enough to actually notice this.
Yeah, I might not have, but I wouldn't have really known either way. If it was Wind Waker or not. But it's still insane that in 2019 we're finding
2 years later we're finding a very big nod to a different game.
It's like this is not just like a tiny little Easter egg; it's an entire town.
Yeah, it's like it's kind of saying, because based on timeline stuff, that this either becomes Offset Island, or Outset Island became this.
Yeah, I don't know. Anytime you go down Zelda timeline,
it's supposed to be at the end, so
rabbit holes it gets kind of.
Yeah, I think Breath of the Wild is kind of supposed to be at the end. So
I thought it was supposed to not be in any of them.
Yeah, I guess not. I don't know, man.
I think it's probably just a little nod, but it's probably not.
Yeah.
No. I mean, isn't it like don't they all kind of break each other? Like, don't know the timelines completely work out like in the games. Like,
probably not. No.
I'm pretty sure there's a lot of things you have to kind of just ignore this to make the timeline work, because I don't think it's something that they're actually thinking about.
Where in the timeline then Goopa's going extinct already?
That is the question.
That's the true question I'm trying to answer.
Where are the chain chomps?
Where are the chain chomps?
Are they under? Maybe they're gonna. All the chain chomps are gonna rise up in Breath of the Wild too.
Yes,
and that's what they
got inspiration from making the Link's Awakening game, putting chain chomp in Goombas.
You're gonna get so tired of fighting chain chomps.
Yeah,
there's just gonna be chain chomps everywhere.
Yeah.
It's just gonna be Super Mario Odyssey. You're gonna play as Link, but you're in Super Mario Odyssey.
You find
you're in the Lunch Kingdom.
You get a little hat like, hi, I'm Cappy.
Motion vicious crossover. Okay, Jeff, we need to move on.
And then Zelda's like, he's so cute and blushes. He's
Speaking
really
of Breath of the Wild 2, Jeff, let's get into our main topic. Jeff,
hey, listen.
speaking of Breath of the Wild 2, or whatever it's going to be called, is going to be a thing. The sequel to Breath of the Wild. We saw it at E3. Saw like Ganondorf and his freaky skeleton body and his little hand.
We don't know if
it's
it's Ganondorf.
It's Ganondorf. Yeah, it's Ganondorf. And this freaky stuff, and he's back to life, and we might be playing as Zelda. Who freaking knows? But we do know there's a sequel to Breath of the Wild. Where it's at least heavily implied that it is taking place in the same Hyrule, because we saw like that outer map and stuff of it coming up. Like we don't know if it's taking place exclusively there, but at least like
same Link and Zelda. It's obviously after the end of Breath of the Wild.
Yeah. So it's definitely seeming kind of like a Majora's Mask type deal, where it's like they're using probably the same engine, same map, but changing a bunch with it or whatever. So like doing that so that they can probably make the game faster, but like more of an incremental step up, but probably a big change in tone to make up for the similar vibe there. So generally, I kind of want to talk about this game, kind of what we want from it, and kind of specifically, I'm interested to see what you think about like how much and what certain things need to change for it to feel like worthy to you of we're making this a whole new game and a whole new like worthy of like I'm paying, it's a new Breath of the Wild sequel, because it's obviously going to have like similarities, and I still think there's a lot more you can do with this world, but there are definitely ways they could play it too safe and like be too close to it. So generally, like I'll start off just immediately. I think me and you both agree. Like I loved shrines. I loved the shrines like a ton in Breath of the Wild. I thought it was an awesome like new mechanic. Like in place of dungeons, it was something different. But I kind of hope that going forward they keep doing new things, because I think it would be a bummer if it's like there's 100 something shrines again, even if they're different shrines. It would
I just had a thought.
It would kind of be a bummer. Yeah, go ahead.
So they wanted to say not gonna do this, but since I think this is a direct continuation, it just obviously depends where they do with the map. What if it took your save data? Like, they're all the shrines that are in Breath of the Wild, they're still there and in the same places and everything.
Yeah.
But it takes your save data and it activates and says you completed the shrines the same what you did in their Breath of the Wild 1 save data. So if you did all the shrines, they're all activated. You can fast travel anywhere. And if you haven't done much, you got all the shrines to do. Screw you.
You could kind of break the game a little bit. Like,
I know.
Immediately do that. And what if you played on the Wii U and then now you're playing on the Switch?
Well, that's your fault.
That's your fault for playing the Wii U, you nerd.
You nerds. Bunch of nerds. Ooh, that's also something I didn't think about. It's exciting. So, obviously, there is probably something that the Wii U, because they had to do it on the Wii U, it held back Breath of the Wild, at least some.
Yeah.
In some ways. It's all Switch, baby.
It's just free ride.
I don't expect it to be like a major upgrade, but little stuff here and there.
Crazy. You're gonna see some.
It's coming for you, God of War.
Step aside, Kratos.
We got a new pretty boy.
So, like, how would you feel if we get into here and they kind of go back to just normal dungeons?
I would be all for it.
I would be all for it as long as it's done in a way that feels like unique to this game and feels cool. But yeah.
So I think there was a job listing or people found a job listing that pointed to, it sounds like there's going to be a lot heavier of a dungeon focus in this game.
Yeah. So, which I think that's the most obvious.
That was made, well, not necessarily complaints. Some people complained about it, but it was something that people were kind of missing from Breath of the Wild 1. Even, people obviously love what, was in Breath of the Wild, but that's an easily a good way to take Zelda things and make it different from Breath of the Wild, just having more focus on some major dungeons.
Yeah, and I think the closest like thing to dungeons in Breath of the Wild were the Divine Beast, which I do think was probably the worst part of Breath of the Wild. Not that they were bad, but I do think pretty much all of them were underwhelming if you compare them to like Zelda dungeons of the past and everything. It's obviously because they weren't supposed to be directly that, and you had 170 freaking shrines, so like that's where like
120
shrines. That's where all that was going to. So I mean, it obviously it wasn't like the game was fine without them, but I do think that could be a cool, in a way, return to form, but also like I said, I want there to be something kind of different about these dungeons. Like, I don't know what exactly that would be. Like, you could still have different elemental dungeons or something, but maybe turned on its head in some way. Like, you like I want you to think this one dungeon's going this one way, or it's going another way or something. And it does make me wonder, are you still going to be able to do the thing where like, could I go to any of these dungeons in any order? Am I going to be like locked out of things because I don't have the right equipment, or I don't know.
Yeah, there's still a lot of questions for this game as far as I can do. Like, sample, what's Zelda's role in the game exactly? How big of a thing is she gonna be? Is she gonna be with Link like the whole time? Is she gonna be kidnapped or something? Is what we saw in the thing from the beginning of the game, and then she's like kidnapped again, which would be very lame. If that was the case, she was just trapped by Ganon.
And I wish I could join people in the optimism train. They're just like 100% convinced that Zelda is definitely playable. Obviously,
I think there's a chance, but I'm not like one of us.
I refuse to let myself be sold because it seemed like they were going that direction so many times in the past, and then they don't. Yeah. And there's even been like, I forgot, it was one of the main people behind Zelda. They were interviewing him. It might be. But he was even directly saying, when asked about Zelda, he was basically said, I don't understand why everyone wants to play Zelda. Like, I don't understand why people want this. And it's like, my dude. Like,
call it Legend of Zelda.
It's just a bummer for her to be a character this whole time and then like not do more with her in that way. Yeah. I don't know. And it's like, regardless, like, you have to know this is something people want. But whether you understand it or not, it's been like so many games straight of people thinking this is going to happen.
It's a good way to make it different from Breath of the Wild, or at least add a new dynamic to it, because obviously, well, not obviously, but if Zelda were to be playable, you would think she would at least be different than Link in some ways, because what her skill set, as described in Breath of the Wild 1 through flashbacks and all that, are very different. She's obviously is more. She's not much of necessarily a fighter like Link is. She's more knowledge based. Magic, and obviously we've seen that she's power of the goddess and all that crap. So she can be very different, and they can use that. They could I can see them not doing the whole thing of you can switch between them and play them in the overworld at any time or something like that. Maybe there's some times that you switch between, you have to switch to Zelda sometimes. Like maybe during the dungeons is where she's heavily playable, and her skill set is heavily involved with solving puzzles.
What do you think the chances are of co-op?
I think it's very low.
I do too. I also don't think. I just think it's too big of a change to what Breath of the Wild is.
And then it's one of those. The thing is with the co-op thing, if they did it, great. If they do it right. Yeah. But I feel like one of the things would be hard to implement, just because we're talking about how we want it to be different or how it could be different from Breath of the Wild, but there's only so much they could do with it. We're making a Breath of the Wild sequel, because the fact that they're calling it like, this is one of the few times in Zelda history we've got like a direct sequel. They're calling this a sequel to.
Yeah, they said a sequel.
Yeah. This might be the first time since Zelda 2 we got a 2 in a Zelda title. But so they can't change things crazy amount. It's hard to do co-op with that giant open world, and then they got to make dungeons with them. Then they would have to design dungeons with people playing single player and co-op in mind.
Right. And it's not necessarily something I want, because like when I think about Breath of the Wild, that is a distinctly single player experience. I mean, it was like kind of the most like, I'm just isolated playing this game and I lose track of time for hours because I'm just exploring on my own. Like, it's a very, very distinctly single player experience to me, to the point where, like, if Breath of the Wild 2 was announced with co-op, I probably would say, okay, cool. I'm not going to do that, or at least not my first playthrough.
You would mess around with it
some, but like
that's not how we would heavily play the game, because we're not going to do like Tales and wait to get together play it. No,
right? No, and
I'm sorry, I love you, but no,
no. And I was going to say, like, I love you. You're like, I love playing games with you, but I would have hated to have you or anyone else just palling around with me, or like sitting with me as I'm playing my 100 hours of Zelda, of Breath of the Wild. I was like, no.
Especially with the way what you're doing that 100 hours, where it's a lot of exploring, just walking around.
Right. Like, Tales is like, we're me and you are watching a story doing all this or whatever. Breath of the Wild, the vast majority of my 100 hours was me climbing up this random mountain.
The most you get out of the story is just context from the world and stuff.
Paragliding down. Like, it wouldn't have been a fun time for you if you if you were playing like little brother to my Breath of the Wild thing. Like, and I also think it's a very low, like,
I think we might have actually mentioned this on the podcast before when talking about like playable Zelda and co-op. Playable Zelda is a lot more important than co-op in this situation. I feel like it's more likely, and I want it more.
But even I will say, even in playable Zelda, it seems like a somewhat tricky thing to try to implement in a game that Breath of the Wild was so much about you can do whatever you want in whatever order you want. Like, like, some people are going to go to the Gerudo people first. Some people are going to go over here first. It's like, you could go to the final boss if you want. When you have it that open, it does make it like you said, if you're going to have Zelda important for certain dungeons or whatever, then, like, does Zelda have all, like, how is Zelda getting her abilities? Does it make sense if it has to make sense no matter what direction everyone goes in this. And if you can switch between them or something, it has to make sense. Regardless who you're playing, you can, like, do something. It definitely adds, like, a whole nother layer to it. I think those are the type of layers that we need for the sequel. I agree. I think that would be a huge selling point, obviously, if this came out. It's like, then you can have Zelda missions or something.
100%.
What do you think about being in the same world map? Like, and what kind of differences are you expecting, aside from maybe dungeons being risen out of the ground, which I think that's what everyone assumes the dungeons would come from. Maybe could we see the castle rising out of the ground? Maybe there's dungeons that have been lying dormant in the ground for a long time. What other type of changes would you want to see from this map?
What could be potentially be cool is I'm trying to think. Depending on what the whole rising out of the ground thing is all about. They could do some crazy changes to Hyrule, or maybe this is really out there. I don't think this is happening based on what we've seen.
Tinfoil hat, let's go.
Maybe they could do like a Link Between Worlds thing and have like an alternate version of Hyrule that's darker.
That could be cool.
I mean, that's something they've done before, but not necessarily in the 3D space.
Twilight Princess straight going to like the weird mirror dimension. That, what I was gonna say is the very central thing, and honestly, my biggest complaint in Breath of the Wild is that there was not nearly enough enemy variation. Like, not even close. It was just every single area had lizard people, boblicans or whatever, and a few other things. Bokoblins, and they all just changed elements. But that was basically it. I think this game needs to have a lot more distinct. Like, I'm in this area, I'm fighting these type of enemies. I'm in this other area, it's a completely different
the
type
hope
of enemy.
Is because question I wrote down, and we can maybe tie this into, is like, what is going on in that trailer? All the crazy stuff. It seems like there's a bunch of magic stuff going on. You see that weird hand thing, like grabbing Link and him doing stuff. Ganon comes back to life. They could do more magic based, like, kind of stuff, or demons or something, because obviously Ganondorf, we had Ganon last episode, we're getting Ganondorf this time. They could do some crazy stuff with that.
Well, I think Damiani brought up, is Ganon possessing Link right now?
What if for a good bit of the game, Link's the bad guy, you play as Zelda?
Or that. Or I was gonna say you're playing as Link and you don't know that you're the bad guy, but maybe Link is the bad guy and you're playing as Zelda.
That'd be crazy. Also, something I remember is, I think I remember from when going to the Gerudo village in the first one. Just a cute, nice little. I thought it was just a nice little Easter egg. Maybe it was a hint. I don't know. I think they mentioned the whole male Gerudo thing that happens every so often.
Wait, what now?
They mentioned Ganondorf, like the Ocarina of Time one, is a Gerudo.
Yeah,
but he's a male one that normally doesn't happen. He's a very rare breed. I think they mentioned something about it when you talk to one of the random Gerudos in the village.
Okay.
So I just think it's a cute little nod to like Ocarina of Time and Wind Waker and all that kind of stuff. But who knows? It could have been a hint to, hey, we're bringing Ganondorf.
Hey, and wasn't like people. I know, like the thing is, there's like a hand holding Ganon there, right? Like keeping him dead, basically.
Maybe.
Or something, either keeping him from doing something bad. And like then, so the hand grabs Link, and then that's when Ganon wakes up or whatever. So like, did the hand like did the hand do whatever it was doing to Ganon? Did it do something to Link now? Like is there is Link gonna be affected by that hand in some way or something? It's like, and what is the hand? Like, is this some god that's stopping Ganon?
Now this is the kind of wishful thinking thing. I kind of be cool if it happened, just to kind of turn its head on things. Imagine, just partly, they don't market this at all, but that stuff's at the beginning. There's no way they wouldn't market this. This happened. Happens at the beginning. That whole hand thing happened. It like steals like Link's life energy and gives it to Ganon. Ganon comes back to life. Link's kind of a husk, and you are playing as Zelda.
That would be pretty sweet. And
nice twist on things.
And then like at the end you bring Link back, but like the whole thing was Zelda. Like Zelda is trying to save Link now.
Yeah, and potential thing of, hey, you're kind of starting from scratch because Zelda's not an experienced adventurer.
Right. Yeah. That would make sense because if you're starting from scratch with Link in this one, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense because like he's this badass warrior now. Yeah,
that's my dream.
That you could be onto something. I mean, I kind of doubt that they would have a Zelda game that does not star Link, just because I just kind of doubt it. But
I can dream.
But I do think that's a distinct possibility though. Especially, I mean she looks like a combat ready Zelda with her like cut hair and they're like.
I mentioned this before.
Awesome,
I can see part of the reason they cut her hair is to make animation easier when she's doing stuff. Yeah. When you're controlling her.
Very well could be, and that would be cool. Like I want there to be. Maybe this is something, I don't know, like, Breath of the Wild was very light on story, and I don't even think that's really a criticism of it, because I think that was like part of the whole thing. It's like a world that you kind of like fill in for yourselves, and it's like a very much like an abandoned world. You're like in this world like after it kind of collapsed,
and the flashbacks kind of fill in general story stuff.
Yeah, it's like not quite Dark Souls level of like environmental storytelling, but closer to that.
Yeah.
I want this
Dark Souls light.
Like one of the ways I want this to potentially separate itself from Breath of the Wild is I want there to be story beats, and I want there to be like a plot twist.
Yeah.
I want there to be something that happens in this, like whether it's the beginning with Zelda, like like Link is the husk and you're doing that, or it's something like later on you find out that like, oh, this whole time you as Link have actually been possessed, and you've been like putting steps into motion to help Ganon, and you didn't even realize it. Like you've been doing the bad thing this whole time, and then there's a twist.
Something expected to happen, especially since Ganondorf is seems to be part of this story. Obviously, we had Ganon last time, but Triforce was not really a factor in Breath of the Wild 1.
No, yeah,
that will. I imagine that'll be more of a factor here.
Yeah.
Be more of a thing of, hey, we gotta make sure he doesn't get the Triforce.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, I feel like this could be kind of more of a throwback to like some older Zelda themes, like dungeons and the Triforce.
I think
Ganondorf in general.
The dream of this is it is Breath of the Wild. It uses that as a base, but it's just added a bunch of older Zelda elements that Breath of the Wild did not have, and just kind of. Something we've been saying a lot is separated from Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, and the merge of kind of new and old with the because Breath of the Wild was way more kind of, for lack of a better word, like a very experimental or progressive Zelda. Not progressive like politically, but like it was like moving. It was doing a lot of new things for Zelda and kind of bucking Zelda trends and
and we're not. I'm going to speak for kind of both of us. I imagine you're this way. When we're talking about all bringing this all kind of Zelda back, we don't mean just like the exact same way. Put the Breath of the Wild twist, new twist on it.
Yeah, no, I would be bummed if it's just like this is all just a nostalgia grab to older Zelda thing. I want there to be new twists and new things like that. As far as gameplay, I think me and you are both extremely high proponents of the weapon breaking system.
It's kind of weird. Like
there are so many detractors from it. And I love it so much. I would be so bummed if they took it out.
They could, and we've discussed this a lot, but may not as much in the podcast. But when I imagine the Zelda Breath of the Wild gameplay, and then I think of how they take the weapon breaking system out, I'm like, and. May I'm not imagine they could. I mean, obviously they would change things, but if they just took it out,
it would break the game.
It would break the game. All you need is a couple weapons, and then you're good. You're set.
The game would be boring as hell.
Yeah. All you need is the couple, like pretty much guardian weapons, the guardian bow, and you're good. I loved going around the world and trying to collect. I was like, yes, I need.
Yeah,
that's the kind of thing I need.
And it made like every encounter, even 90 hours into the game, was completely different. And you had to think about it. You had to be like, okay, do I have enough? Like, like, what should I use now? Should I save this now? Or like, do I have the right weapons? Like, I might not. I might be screwed in this fight. I need to go find something else.
I mean, it made you think about what encounters to do, because it's kind of like. Because is this worth actually wasting my weapons for? Worth breaking some of these weapons on, or wasting arrows and all that kind of stuff.
And it gave you a lot more of incentive and the pace was really good with the shrines. There was enough shrines out there that you're finding naturally to, like, every time I would get a cool weapon from a shrine, it was like, oh, I needed that. That was like, in so many games, you get to the point where it's like, I'm doing these things and getting rewards that I couldn't care less about because I have my weapon. I'm getting all these cool weapons, but I have my shotgun. I'm good. Or I have my cool sword. I'm good. But you were never good. You were never just set in stone. It was you always had to think about that. And I think that it would be a huge bummer if they take it away. The only thing is that they don't have the shrines. They're going to have to find like new ways to like creatively give you more weapons. Not that shrines were the only way, but shrines are where you were getting most of the really cool weapons. Yeah. But there would have to be other things. I just really hope they don't like buck under pressure, because a lot of people hate the weapon degrading system, but a lot of people love it too. And I think people underestimate how much it would hurt the game.
Yep.
Like the game would have to change a lot, and it would be just like a lot of other games, because like I'm guilty of it, you're guilty of it, everyone's guilty of it. When you find a weapon that works, you just use that weapon because it works. Like, you're not constantly changing because the game doesn't. Most games don't really incentivize you to, whereas Breath of the Wild completely did, and it was cool. I liked it a lot.
Give me more Goron buddy adventures.
Yeah. The Goron are jolly. No, it's going to be a darker game, Jeff. They're all dead.
They're all dead.
They have to do it.
Now, I'm thinking what they might do. They kind of hinted about this with the DLC, you felt like, but they didn't really go with it in the story. Because pretty much when you were going through you're going through the story or whatever, and you're doing the Flying Beast, you pretty much met the successors in a way of the 4 heroes.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping those are more involved, and they're kind of more maybe grow into those roles and kind of more officially become the 4 heroes. Now that like they're all alive and established and everything, like maybe they can be more a part of the story and maybe more a part of the gameplay. Like maybe there'll be times where you're having to fight Ganon with I forgot the bird guy's name, but you're like fly on his back and like doing certain things you can. They gotta bring Sidon back, the fishman.
Okay, yeah,
people love him.
Yes, and his sparkly tooth.
Yep,
anime style.
Yep.
Well, Jeff, any other Breath of the Wild 2? This is kind of our first big Breath of the Wild 2. Just kind of like, what do we want talk of? Probably many.
100%. Let's see. Okay.
Possibilities are endless right now. Are you wanting, like, I mean, I'm excited for a tone shift. I definitely want it to be a darker tone. I want it to feel, I want it to feel darker than Breath of the Wild, just to like kind of give it that separated.
I want to see Link die.
I want to see death.
Death and destruction and
He's out there
darkness.
chain smoking cigarettes outside Hyrule Castle. He has tattoos. Epona's a motorcycle now.
Zelda and Link are in bed together and he's just smoking. like we don't talk anymore.
Does some cocaine.
Then Link's like, yeah.
We need to talk.
I guess final thing, Darby. We kind of talked about this before, but we can enter this. When do we expect this game to come out? It's obviously hot.
Yeah, it does.
I'm still the thing. I think people are underestimating how close it can be.
Yeah, I think because of the whole thing where it's using the same engine, it's going to be using a lot of the same assets and everything. Like, I think we have a potential for, like, I would say spring 2021 is what I would say.
I think that's definitely a possibility. I think they're planning for late next year. Especially
if
they're showing it now. Whether it makes that's up in the air.
Yeah, I think fall 2020 is also.
I think I don't know. People are pointing to. I've seen people point to Metro Prime 4 of why it won't come out anytime soon and stuff. And Breath of the Wild and all this. Well, the original Breath of the Wild and I'm like, those don't mean anything.
Well, Metroid Prime was supposed to be it was supposed to be. We were supposed to probably be seeing Metroid Prime.
Yeah, and I've saw people
this year.
Yeah, I've seen people talk. We just saw that or whatever, and
you're talking about a game that was being made from scratch versus a game that already has an engine, already has a world,
and the trailer is pretty much being saying like, nope, we actually there are Nintendo games that came out later than you would think when they came out, but a lot of those times when they were first announced, they were just logos. And sometimes not even full names, just like, hey, new game in development from this series, like Fire Emblem, Animal Crossing, and Metroid. We actually got an actual trailer for this game. We didn't get a name, but we'll get that in time. I think that's okay. I think that means it's closer than a lot of these games. I think they are planning for next year.
Yeah.
And if it comes out next year, Darby, next year, best year ever. Definitively.
It can't. We go through all like Last of Us, Final Fantasy, Breath of the Wild, Cyberpunk. It
Ori.
just never ends. Ori.
Tales.
Yeah.
Digimon Survive.
But I
2.
do think 2021 is also very, very, very possible.
Yeah.
But even that, I don't think is that bad. You know.
No.
Yeah.
So I think I want it now.
I want it now. I told you, like, whenever I was like traveling or going to the beach and stuff, I had my Switch. I started playing Zelda again. It took me a second to get back used to the controls, but as soon as I did, it's like, God, I could like, if someone just erased all my other games that I had, I would be fine. I could just keep playing that game forever. I mean, like, just like go exploring a bunch of areas that I've already explored before. It still felt new. It's just like, God, that game is so special.
It is.
So freaking special. Oh, and I'm so ready for a new one. Video games are cool. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Yeah, we'll be back. Don't know if we'll be back next week. We might be a little bit late again next week because we going to the beach.
And potentially skip. We'll see. It feels like we're at the stage of the time of year where news is kind of slowing down, and honestly, there wasn't too much crazy stuff for this week, even though 9 days happened since the last time we recorded, and we're 2 days into this week that we use news from.
Yeah, so we'll see. But whether we have a podcast or not, we will have our Spider-Man Far From Home Spoilercast, which we are about to record. It's already getting late, so we're gonna wrap that up real quick, and then Darby's gotta go sleep.
Sleep is for the week.
We don't know. It's for the week. All right, bye.
Bye.